All right, we're live. Welcome to another episode of Keyboard Words presented by CrosswinsMMA.com. I am your host, Eddie Law. With me are the two guys behind Stand and Bang Radio, Aaron Robbins and Fred Kirby from Gem City Fighting. Now, I know what's going to happen on today's show. You guys kind of already gave a little bit of, not even a preview, just kind of like a little bit of a hint. So I'll let Kirby go first.
You don't get to take our thunder away. You just shut up.
Okay, go ahead. Let's just go right into it.
Well, we'll get to it when we get to the main event. Just let us see.
Motherfucker. All right, whatever. All right, let's talk about the really quick guillotine choke wins by Patrick Williams and Efrain Escudero. I mean, look, Patrick Williams is very unlikely to win this fight against Alejandro Perez in Mexico City. Fred, look, man, he caught that guillotine real fast, ended his night in 23 seconds, got a pat in the back from Dana White. What do you think of Patrick Williams?
I think he looks like a fucking beast, man. I was kind of salty at that fucking result of that fight because, like, we both watched that Ultimate Fighter, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a lot of high hopes for Alejandro, and he came out and got snuffed out fast as fuck, man. But Williams looked like a beast, though, so, I mean, fuck, what more can you say? I'll tell you one thing. I wasn't terribly surprised because I didn't know exactly what to expect from Alejandro. Efrain shocked the shit out of me. I did not think that he was going to have a performance like that, and that was kind of tight to see him get that shit because he felt like he fucking really, really enjoyed getting to have that performance in Mexico. Who the fuck was we talking to, Aaron, that was just saying that it was a big deal for Efrain to be on that card and all that shit?
Yeah, you know, the funniest thing is how you pronounce Efrain. I don't care what they call him. His name is Efrain. They keep giving him more fucking vowels.
Yeah.
Every time that son of a bitch comes back to the UFC, he gets another vowel and another syllable added to his name. Efrain. Fucking Efrain Escudero. And I'll tell you what, he got that good choke on Dober because look at Dober's head. It is physically impossible for him to back out of a choke. It's like a fucking cat that has a head bigger than his body. Once it gets fucking through the door, that's it, Jack. You're stuck. But no, it was Anthony Burchak. Because earthquake. Because Efrain he won the Ultimate Fighter and then short stint in the UFC. What is this? This is his third run in the UFC, which is almost unheard of. And then as far as Williams, everybody being impressed with Williams, and you know what? Perez got caught. Alejandro got caught. It happens. I don't know if it's really like time to jump on any sort of Williams train because he's good with a high elbow guillotine. I did like how he switched up his hands in the transition. That was real tight. But I mean, it's one of those things where I would rather see a 2-round back and forth war and then have him turn it around and do something amazing than tag the guy once, lock up the choke, and it's all done. But now Efrain has been on what is this? His second real quick choke, right?
Yep.
So good on him, man. 3 runs in the UFC, and he looked great. But like I said, I think it has something to do with the fact that Dober's jaw is wider than the top of his head, and so those kind of guys, man, he ain't fucking getting out of a choke.
All right. Now there was a lot of hype behind Henry Cejudo on this. Look, his wrestling is really good. They were saying he was going to get some kind of finish. Came out in the Aztec gear. Yeah, came out in the Aztec gear, Mr. Wah. Go ahead. What do you think of that fight?
I think Cejudo's fucking hype train just came to a screeching halt, Jack. That's what I fucking think. I think he couldn't even fucking get a takedown on Chico Camus, which for as badass as Chico Camus is, he looks slightly like a poor man walking down Main Street here in Dayton. I mean, Chico Camus actually did fucking way better than I expected him to do in this fight, man. Dude couldn't get the takedown, and wait a minute, whoa. Cejudo won this fight too, right?
Yeah, decision.
That's some complete bullshit, Jack. I don't know. Did you think he actually won the fight, Aaron? Is that what I heard you say?
No, I'm not going to argue with the judges. This was another one of those fights where it's so razor thin, but I'm telling you what. Cejudo is Mexican. We were in Mexico. If it's that close, there is home cooking. The homeboy's going to win. Chico Camus looked great. In my opinion, what happened is just like what Fred said. Cejudo's hype train derailed, and Camus, now I'm kind of like, I want to see what that guy can do if he doesn't have nerves. Because all through the commentary they were saying, you know, over at Rufus Sport, he's so good in the gym. He's one of those guys where he outperforms in the gym, and then when it comes time to perform in a crowd, he doesn't really let it go. But, you know, Cejudo, up until this point, was like the phenom. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, he's only 5'4". That's not, I think that might be one of the problems. His arms are only about 17 inches long. So, I mean, it's not going to be easy to fight in fucking any division. Look at the way Mighty Mouse is built, man. He will knock out his fucking teeth before Cejudo unbends his elbow. It's fucking ridiculous. But no, he didn't look great. I didn't care for that fight. But much more, I cared for that fight a lot more than, what was it, Montano?
Yeah, Montano against Cathal Pendred.
Why is it that every Cathal Pendred is in just sucks? I don't know if him. I know that he wanted to fight.
Oh, it's him.
Huh?
It's him. It's him. It's Cathal Pendred.
Okay,
He's a boring ass dude.
Eddie,
fucking period.
Ed, am I right? He's had 3 fights in the UFC.
Yeah, and he's had what? I think he's like 2-1, I think, or 3-0, I'm not sure.
And they've all sucked, right?
They've sucked so bad that he's at the point where he's wondering what the problem is. Like, he's literally saying, "I have no idea what's going on." Like, dude, you're boring. That's the fucking problem.
Right.
Well, didn't you get the two? I mean, they were talking about Montano being this next thing, and that was Anthony Burchak too. He's like, I can't wait to see Esblito and Chalito and all these guys, and I'm like, I don't know what their Mexican nicknames are, man. Call them what their names are on the computer. But he's like, I'm really looking forward to Montano. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to believe this guy because they're training partners or homeboys or something. And then I think I was talking with Fred. I said, you ever see, well, it's another fight too, but they almost looked like video game characters that were glitching. They just, nothing, and they just circled and twitched and feinted and twitched and nothing. It's just like, fuck, just stop the fight. This is the first time in a long time I saw a ref warn a fighter for inactivity. Herb Dean actually said, look, guys, you're going to have to fucking fight at some point, earn your money.
On that note, just quickly as an off-topic, do you fucking think it'd be cool to kind of see the old-school Pride fucking yellow card, like, reinstated? Like, this fucking stalling shit, man, is killing the sport. Motherfucker, if you're just laying on top, we're fucking standing you up, and if you're just fucking holding somebody against the cage, we're taking some fucking money out of your check. That's fucking bullshit, man.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this trend, but we'll probably talk about it with Torres versus Hill. All of the referees wait until there's like 45 seconds left to stand up the fighter. What the fuck was the point, man? I think there should be like a 35 or 40-second clock going off in their head. Yeah. And obviously, if they're transitioning and she's trying for something, but there was, 2.5 minutes in that one round where Tisha literally just laid down on top of her. Fuck that. You get 30 seconds. If you're not looking like you're doing nothing, stand up. And if you take her back down, you get 25 seconds the next time to fucking do something. You know, I know that everybody's like, well, it was her job to stand back up. Sure, but you got to put some of it on the top position, right?
Yeah, once you get somebody down, you scored those points already. You know, now try to do something with it. Transition, get to side control, land some elbows from the top, whatever. But, no, you're right. And let's get right into it. Tisha Torres winning the decision in a very boring fight, in my opinion. And it sucks for Angela Hill, but it's kind of like we talked about last week. It's really whoever gets off first. If Tisha gets a takedown, it was kind of over at that point. But, no, I agree with you completely. She did nothing with the top position. Just lay it on her, scored points that way. And it was a boring fight, man. I almost barely watched it. It was kind of like just in the background.
Whoever got off first, neither.
Yeah.
Neither one of them did shit.
And I'll tell you why that's a bad thing, too. Because it was the fight that opened up the pay-per-view card. And I don't know if you guys know this. This first fight is kind of really important for the general vibe of the night. If the pay-per-view starts off and it's a fucking humdinger and there's blood everywhere, it just kind of gets your fucking pussy wet. You know what I'm saying? You're like, all right, here we go. It's about to be a fucking fun card, a nice fucking bloody fight. That's what's up. But when you have a fight like that in the very first fight of the night, it sets a very fucking Nicki Minaj-esque monotone fucking vibe. The fucking same, you know what I'm saying, boring-ass normal tone, and it's hard. You need a fucking great fight after that to wake the fucking crowd back up because everybody's snoozing after that shit, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The first card, the first fight on the main card is always the tone setter. So yeah, it did suck, and it did kind of start off with the boring way. But the next fight was actually pretty good with Yair Rodriguez getting the win over Charles Rosa and then puking all over himself while talking to Joe Rogan. That was a pretty funny thing to happen. But Rodriguez looking like a really promising prospect. What do you guys think of that fight? Start with Fred.
Dude, like I said, man, watching the Latino Ultimate Fighter, thank fucking God for Yair Rodriguez. And we'll touch on it later with your fucking boyfriend Kane, but Mexico's fucking pride just damn near died. Thank God they got Yair now. Now you still got somebody you can hang your fucking cowboy hats on, because that motherfucker looks bad, Jack, and he's young. He looks like he's very fucking creative. And actually, I'm sure Aaron will talk to this too, talk this point up. His grappling looked good. Charles Rosa's no fucking joke in the grappling department. For him to be able to kind of compete with him in that realm, we all know he's a great diverse striker, but he actually competed with the grappling, which was fucking super impressive, man. So, yeah, Yair, look, the only way he could have been more impressive is to actually get the finish. But as Aaron says all the time, this fight might have even been a little more impressive because we actually got to see him go through a bunch of different fucking scenarios and shit, man. Yeah, so fucking great fight, and Yair.
Yeah, Aaron, what do you think of that fight? I mean, unfortunately, like Kirby was saying, he is like one of the only guys left that the Mexican fans can kind of hang their hat on.
I don't know. That's not true. There's plenty of Mexican American fighters, and like I said, the quick choke over Alejandro, we don't know. But you know what? I'm a little bit less impressed right now. I just pulled up Charles Rosa's record. It's terrible. He lost to Dennis Siever. I just lost all respect.
Hating cocksucker.
I'll tell you what. If Rodriguez wouldn't have beat him, I'd have been like, Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? Fucking Dennis Siever beat him. No, it's all right. He has one win over Sean Soriano. All right. Yeah, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. You could tell right away that this guy was something special. His creativity. That's what I like. That's one of the only things that I respect about Conor McNuggets, is that he is creative. You can tell he's a creative striker. This kid had oblique kicks, front leg side kicks. He was doing the jumping kicks, knees, and then when it came time for the scramble, he was actually able to get off of his back and reverse several times and get onto get top position over Rosa. So like I was saying before, now what I want to see out of Yair is to come to America. If we see a special talent in Mexico or in Brazil, because there's a couple of guys that you only ever see on Brazil cards, we really need to take these special talents. Go to Fredo Pepe, that's one of them. I'd like to see him come over to the United States and fight on a United States card. Yair Rodriguez, bring him here. Let him fight in Vegas. Give him a little higher class opponent and let him fight away from home. Because if we have this kind of talent in Mexico City, but we can only get to see him when the UFC goes to Mexico, what the fuck is the point of having a talented kid like that?
No, I completely agree. You need to bring him over here, get him some exposure, and get him a couple more fights where you start giving him some top 15 guys or top 10 guys. All right, moving on to the next fight. Kelvin Gastelum gets the TKO finish over Nate Marquardt. I thought for sure Nate Marquardt was going to do some kind of something against him because he was huge compared to Kelvin. And I think Nate Marquardt's done, man. What do you think, Aaron?
Go ahead, Aaron. You take this one first.
Well, he doesn't say so. I just read an article where he's like, I saw it in the stars and my future's still in the UFC. It's, I don't know, fucking handing out tickets or sweeping the aisle. I'm not exactly sure where his future is in the UFC, but I don't think it should be fighting. Gastelum obviously is not a 185-pound guy. Joe Rogan made that evidently clear by calling him everything but a fucking lard ass in the commentary. He's like, he shouldn't be a 185. He's real jiggly. He's carrying all sorts of extra fat. Look at this pig. I mean, it's like Rogan, fucking calm down, you fucking jerk. You know, every time he gets somebody around him who's chubby, like fucking Brandon Schaub, he's like, how much body fat you got? 16%. Nah, kid, I'm 40%. You're fat. So Rogan's just kind of a prick on that maneuver, but you're right. He looked small, but he overwhelmed Marquardt. And I'll tell you what, there's some guys that fucking age like a fine wine inside of the cage. Marquardt ages like vinegar, or maybe hot cheese. I don't know. He looks like shit. He looks like shit right now, man. And no offense to him, because he did have the Strikeforce welterweight title. That's awesome. He had Pancrase. That's great. He's just not there anymore. And then it boils down to, I actually get afraid of the cumulative damage that these fighters will take. He's sitting on a stool, and he actually verbalized, "I've got nothing." And thankfully, Whitman immediately said, "Fuck it, we're done." And then in an article, he's like, "I screamed out no, but my body wouldn't work." That sounds like a stroke. So if that's happening to you, Nate, maybe it's time to start listening to people who are a little bit smarter than you. If you scream out and your body doesn't work anymore, time to stop fighting.
No, I agree. Fred, what do you think of that, of Kelvin? Stay at 185, moved back down to 170. Uncle Dana already said no to that.
You know what? I don't give a fuck. That's what I think. I don't know why, but Kelvin has the RDA effect on me all to where I can't, like, he's sitting there throwing fucking Nate a beating, and I'm just fucking GSP style not impressed, dog. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not impressed with Kelvin, man. He looked good, but listen, Aaron said it. All due respect, we like to have a lot of fun on this show. All due respect, man. Nate quit on the stool. It's safe. Listen, I know he was kind of hurt, but I think he'd probably been hurt worse in fights before that he continued to fight through. I don't think it was a matter of physically not being able to fight. I think Nate's just done. He may now, but at that point in the cage, he sure as shit didn't want to go no more. And I just don't think it's because he was in there with Mike Tyson and Kelvin was overwhelming him. And Kelvin's a beast, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. We'll see. Should he stay at 185? Fuck no. Even Kelvin's smart enough to admit that. Even Kelvin's like, yeah, Jacare, Luke Rockhold, Jack. I'm cool on those dudes. So, you know, but you know what? But you make a point, though, that Dana White was running his mouth about dude cutting weight. And you're right. Dana White's a fat shitbird that has never cut weight before, and if he has, it's been fucking 3 or 4 decades ago. So what's he know about it? But I'll tell you what he knows about it. He knows that he set big pretty events for Kelvin to make 170, for Kelvin to show up fucking 10 pounds overweight talking about he's puking. So DW is probably like, look, fat boy, either you fucking make 70 or not, and when you don't, we're sending you to 185. If you get ate up with the Sharks up there, you know what I'm saying? He'll probably get a chance to make 170 if he really begs hard enough. But I'll tell you this, if they give him another shot to make 70, he better fucking make it. This will be the last chance he gets to make welterweight.
I have a problem with Dana telling fighters how much they're going to weigh. Just be like, no, man, we really need to see this fight with Cyborg, Ronda. Start eating Twinkies. What? You don't get to tell a fucking subcontractor, a fucking professional athlete, what weight they're... I would say like this. What they should do with Gastelum is have him show that he can make 170 healthy without a fight. Just be like, look, Chubba Dubba, we want you to come in here 169 pounds. You got 5 weeks to do it. Get old Mike Dolce on the phone, come into the office, have an unofficial weigh-in. How did you feel? Were you puking? Were you dying? No, you did okay. All right, there you go. Now you know all you have to do is put down the fucking dark beer. You can't be having no enchiladas. And now you made 170 pounds. We'll give you one more shot. But Fred's right. I mean, ultimately, and I hate to fucking admit it, but if he ruins another goddamn card by coming in huge fat, man, I'd say off to Bellator you go, buddy.
Yeah, and look, and Kelvin's wrestling and all that's really good. But I agree. At 170, he's great. At 185, you're just waiting for him to get hammered by somebody way bigger and way better than Nate Marquardt. But I agree. Nate Marquardt's taking so much fucking damage, man. It's to the point where you feel bad. But props to his corner for throwing the towel when he heard him say, "I got nothing." Because other corners would have been like, "No, you're fucking fine. Let's go get and put him back out there, get the shit kicked out of him." So that's kind of how it works with that. All right, moving on to the co-main event of the evening. It was supposed to be a war, ended up being pretty good overall, but mostly because Eddie Alvarez fought with one eye for the most part after busting his nose or getting his nose busted and then blowing it with his eyeball just popping up. They had the replay over and over and over and over again during the damn pay-per-view. So, Gilbert Melendez losing against Eddie Alvarez via split decision. Nate Diaz running his mouth after the fight. It was a little chaotic after that. But let's go with Aaron because you already looked annoyed. What do you think of that fight?
I was so disappointed because I've been waiting for this since Gil was in Strikeforce, and Eddie was still over in Bellator, and they were like two dogs in a cage looking through the bars at each other, saying, "Okay, we can't get at each other, but you think you're the best, I think I'm the best. This is gonna happen eventually." And then this is the one I was talking about, Fred. Do you ever play like Tekken or or something like that? And the fighters kind of just like bounce back and forth in that one monotonous motion, and they never fucking do anything in the beginning. That's what these looked like. I mean, that one great elbow, great. You landed a great overhand elbow strike that crushed his nose. Fantastic. But then other than that, the fight didn't live up to any amount of the hype that it should have, except for when he, blew his nose, and that's a terrible rookie mistake, and he paid for it. But then old Nate Diaz. Nate, man, both of these guys would fucking start you now. You've been laying on the couch, scratching your balls, smoking weed, doing whatever you do. You're so irrelevant. Who whipped his ass last time that he came back? He's like, yeah, watch this. And somebody just beat him ridiculous. Who did Nate fight?
RDA in Phoenix in December.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, RDA kicked the shit out of him. He kicked him so bad, RDA looked angry, sending leg kicks, and Nate Diaz would flip him off on the ground, trying to get up his one leg that he had left.
Yeah. These guys are just... Now, Nick, for some reason or another, I always want to see Nick back. But his younger, Skippy, the younger brother, not so much. You just go away now. You know what I mean? Both of these guys would start you at this point. You're just not the athlete that you were in The Ultimate Fighter. So all that, fuck you, you're next, and fuck this, and fuck that, fuck off.
Yeah, and again, after the fights in the event, he talked to the Dushwani, and he decided he was gonna go and say Eddie Alvarez is a prick, and Eddie didn't do shit. Gilbert beat him, and all this other crap. What he usually does when his teammates and his brother and he loses is he says, "No, I fucking won that fight," even though the decision was obviously the other way. But look, man, this was supposed to be a war. This is hyped up for years. It was hyped up. I'm on the same page as Aaron. I was waiting for this fight forever. We finally get it. Fred, what did you think of the fight?
You know what I'm saying? Like you guys said, man, we resolved this fight, and I think if it had happened way back when those dudes were actually like fucking pissy with each other, it would have been a way better fight. Now they've had a lot more money to be made. They've reached a lot higher stats in the circuit. It wasn't all that fun of a fight, man. Neither one of them really got after it like they should have. It's bad when the fucking funnest part of the fight is dude making a rookie mistake and blowing his eyeball out, and fucking Nick Diaz being drunk on camera afterwards and calling them all sissies and bitches. Unlike Mr. Dr. Feelgood over there, I enjoy little Nate. Nate made the whole fucking thing fun for me. Now I actually still care about watching Eddie Alvarez fight again, because hopefully they line up the fight with Nate. Nate, like my good friend Connor, gets it. If you fucking shoot your mouth off and you keep yourself relevant, people still care about you, even if you have a shit dog performance like Mr. fucking Eddie Alvarez had.
I don't think it's as much that Nate gets it. I think it's literally who Nate is. A
little bit of both.
Yeah, I think he's just like, I'm just going to talk shit because fuck it. And he has no idea what he's doing as far as talking. But it works for him because now some people are actually calling for Nate versus Eddie Alvarez, which I don't want to see Nate get the shit kicked out of him. But let's see Nate get the shit kicked out of him.
Okay, you know what? Settle down, guys. I don't think that Nate would get the shit kicked out by Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez ain't did fuck all to show me that he's all that fucking great since he's got to the UFC. I think that if Nate trains with fucking Nick and fucking Jake and the Scrap Pack and takes it seriously, puts the bong down and starts running with fucking Nick and doing salons, I think old Eddie Alvarez better not be blowing his fucking nose next time, or old Nate, listen, he ain't RDA on fucking whatever RDA he's putting in his water bottles these days.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I've known this man long enough now that I've figured it out. You know why Fred likes Nate and Nick and all them? They're called the Scrap Pack. It's cool. He's like, yeah, man, I could drop that during the show. The Scrap Pack. Yeah, the Scrap Pack. Shut up. Fucking Jake Shields. That's the leader of the Scrap Pack. Fucking Jake Shields. Come on.
All right.
Hey, Jake's not the leader. He's the weak sister in the Scrap Pack. Let's just be honest. I love Nate. What the fuck?
You think so. That's the brains of the operation. I'll fucking tell you.
I knew that shit was coming.
All right, so that was the co-main event. Let's not move on to what everyone's been waiting for. The main event where Cain Velasquez gets choked out, guillotined out by Fabricio Verdum. Lots of shit went in this fight. I have my own opinion, but I'll let you guys go first. Who would like? Fred, you want to go first?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Let's just straight to it. And before we fucking start in with all the fucking bashing of you, we was talking about it before we go fucking before we went live. Seriously, like, I don't know. Me and Aaron actually picked Fabricio going into the fight. I think a lot of people had it kind of twisted on Cain. I think they thought that, you know, I don't think people thought, honestly, like, Cain has never looked extremely vicious with like one-punch knockout power. You know what I mean? Like, he's never been that type of a heavyweight. He's had to overwhelm his opponents, usually, other than fucking Bigfoot in that one fight. And Fabricio's looked fucking fantastic. He's been super. Cain had some fucking horrible injuries and shit. You know, I don't know, dude. I think that a lot of people were just kind of, you know, for as much bullshit as I get about being on hype trains, I think fucking a lot of you motherfuckers are just on the hype train of what Cain did fucking 9 years ago and the stories from the AKA gym. Because really going into the fight, man, you know, Fabricio had the upper hand kind of. And listen, he proved why. He's a better striker. Listen, I know you are about to start making it. I know exactly what you're going to say, Eddie. You're going to say, well, he didn't go up there in time. He only went up there 3 days ahead of time, and Fabricio was there for 4 months. Maybe that did play a little into it, but I'm going to tell you what. I don't think Cain gassing was a problem. Sad to say, I think Fabricio Verdum's a better fighter. I think he was a better striker. I don't think that Cain was able to out-wrestle him because he ain't big enough. And jiu-jitsu, forget about it, right? So, I tell you who's sad today is Cain, because as disheartening as it was for Junior to lose twice to Cain, to where you kind of feel like, okay, Junior probably will never be able to beat Cain. I kind of feel that way with Verdum. Verdum threw him a beating, man. They fight again. I see nothing to say that it's going to go any fucking differently, man. Like, yeah, not good.
And Verdum already came out saying he'll rematch Cain in Vegas so they can get rid of the altitude thing. You know,
of course he did.
Yeah, of course, and I kind of hope we don't get to see that right away. Actually, I hope we don't get to see that rematch right away. I think Cain needs some time to get some wins, Zach. But what did you think? Here's the thing. I made a big deal of the knees. The fact that Cain would try to pin Verdum on the cage, and Verdum is like just like you were saying, Fred. He's huge. He's also taller, and he landed knees right on Cain's chin. We haven't seen that happen before at all. And now we got to see it. Aaron, what do you think of that? Do you think the knees played a bigger role, or is this Verdum overall just better?
I mean, the knees were there when he needed them, but he was landing better shots on the feet completely. We got to see Cain in all of his glory for the first 3-4 minutes of the first round. True. He did land on Verdum. Verdum didn't bleed. Verdum didn't wobble. Verdum didn't fall over. He absorbed the blows just fine. When it came to Cain's great cage control and wrestling, Verdum reversed positions. He was strong. He had him in the tie plum. And then when he did get him in the clinch, he hurt him. When they were at distance, he was hurting him. And there's no plan B with Verdum. What are you going to do, shoot a fucking double leg? How'd that work for you, Cain? Not worth it.
Oh, shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's scary. Over there with Rafael Cordero and King's MMA now, where do you beat this guy? Like, all right, look at like Stipe Miocic. He's another example. Athletic guy, but doesn't hit real hard for a heavyweight, right? So what is he going to do? Do the same thing he did as Mark Hunt? I'll bet you not. Fucking Verdum will wrap him up, take his arm home or his neck home real quick. And Verdum hits hard enough that Arlovsky, good night. Alistair Overeem, good night. So who do we have? Probably JDS. Because in everybody's mind, what do we still see Verdum doing? That fucking ear-waggling knockout from that uppercut. That's what everybody remembers Verdum about. But if you look, that was a long fucking time ago. Mm-hmm. And then I was pretty much locked in on the fact that Cain wasn't going to win before the fight. But when they put up the statistics that since 2011 he had only fought JDS and Bigfoot Silva, I knew it was lights out. He hasn't seen a new face in 5 years. And Verdum is a complete fighter.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Verdum's, and just like you guys were saying on Twitter, like literally the day after the fight when I was still working my hangover off, It was you guys were mentioning the evolution. Aaron, you said Kane stopped evolving. I agree with that. And then you guys said the evolution of the last 9 or so years of Verdum. Verdum used to be just a jiu-jitsu only guy. His striking was dog shit at the beginning when we first started seeing him in shows. Now you're talking about Verdum being a better striker than Kane, who was thought to be one of the best strikers in the heavyweight division. It's remarkable what we're seeing out of Verdum.
Okay, listen, 2 things here. A, Verdum, talking about this, it makes me think about it. Verdum definitely needs to fight JDS next. You're right. He's got to get that win back. Even in order for us hardcore fans to take him legitimately serious, I think he's got to get that win back from JDS for us to go, okay, Verdum's the fucking man. He's wiped Alistair over him. Even though he's running his mouth, I don't think anybody thinks that's a fight that he wins at this point. Like, it's enough with him. He needs that JDS fight. The problem with Verdum is, and me and Aaron have kind of talked about this a little bit off the air, I don't think he'll ever be a big star, really. For as good as he is, he doesn't feel like he's got that star potential. Quite frankly, it feels like who could be the biggest star at heavyweight in your guys' fucking opinion? Who is there for a potential heavyweight for us all to care about? Almost like on a Brock Lesnar or even a Randy Couture level, like a legit star at heavyweight. Because I don't think Fabricio Verdum is that guy, even if he keeps fucking winning.
Good question.
Who could fight Fabricio and then be like Anthony Pettis? RDA when the belt sucked because Anthony Pettis was fucking flashy, good looking, well spoken. He's a fucking star. Heavyweight don't really got nobody like that. They've got no Anthony Pettis. They've got nobody. The sad thing is, I've said this too. You know who the biggest fucking star, technically star at heavyweight is? And we'll talk about this briefly probably here in a moment. And this is my opinion, and all you out there disagree with me can suck my fucking dick. Kimbo Slice.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Listen, if Kimbo Slice was good, if Kimbo Slice was actually fucking good, he would be a fucking huge star. What season of Tough had better ratings? I think, wasn't it the best rated Tough ever? The one that he was on?
I don't know.
But Fred, that's so flawed. If the man could fight even a little, he would be a star. He can't. That's too big of an if. Let's be in the realm of fucking possibility. He's about to get snuffed by a 51-year-old roid freak. So let's not say Kimbo Slice is the biggest star. Nothing. He's not even the biggest star in our fucking minds.
Star power though. He is. If he could fucking fight, listen. Look what he's able to do with being able to fight like a washed-up bouncer. People will still turn in droves to watch the guy fight because he's got fucking star power, man. Like it or not, he does. He sucks, but like I said, if he was good, he would sell fucking the pay-per-views that Fabricio would sell. I don't care if Fabricio keeps snuffing dragons. He'll never be that guy. He won't. It'll never happen.
Everything you just said makes me sick.
Me too. Me too. I'm not championing it.
And you made him drink Alka-Seltzer. That's how bad that shit was. He just fucking fizzed that shit out and took it.
Who's a bigger star? Who's a bigger star at heavyweight? Who's got more star power at heavyweight than fucking Kimbo Slice?
Conor McNuggets.
Yeah, right. Bingo, motherfucker. Bingo. Nobody at heavyweight.
All right.
And for the record, Eddie, it's lemonade. I'm not drinking.
I know, but if I were you, I would have lied. I'd have been like, it's Alka-Seltzer for that shit you just fucking said.
Giving Aaron ulcers.
Anyway, so all right. So here's what I have to say about Kane. Okay, and contrary to your belief, Fred, I'm not about to throw a bunch of excuses about Kane. Kane, in my opinion, came in super arrogant. To think that he's gonna come in with 2 weeks before the fight started, right? When Verdum had it in for 3 months, Verdum, I gotta give all kinds of credit to Verdum for the fucking preparation that he had towards the fight, right? Before the fight, 3 months and all that, brought his own partners with him, fucking lodged them, put them all in a fucking camp, and all they did was train and work cardio and all that. Kane came in 2 weeks before thinking his fucking, his cardio Kane, thinking that what we already had was enough. It clearly wasn't. 2 weeks before, Javier Mendez had been trying to get him to Mexico for a long time, and he said, we'll go in 2 weeks before, thinking that was fucking enough. It wasn't. I think, in my opinion, the arrogance of Kane to come back and think that he's going to walk through Verdum or do the same thing he does to everybody else, 2 years off, and the MCL issue that he's had or the injuries that he's had. Who knows whether or not he was healthy on this one? He wouldn't say, and I hope he doesn't. I hope he just keeps his fucking mouth shut and doesn't throw excuses into this one. It was disheartening as fuck to watch. It really was. And I got super hammered afterwards. I mean, talking about a second or two later after the fight was over. Who was it that put up the? Oh no, you guys didn't see it. Jesse from Crossbones put up his picture on the chat that we have, and it was a fucking bar table with shots on it, and some little cartoon just taking one after the other. That was me right after the fight. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Unfortunately, when I have a favorite team, a basketball team, a football team, a fighter, I get way too emotionally invested, and that shit fucked with me. Real fucking bad. Because for fucking months before that, I've been running my mouth saying Kane's gonna start this guy. He's just gonna destroy this guy. That's the kind of belief people have in their fighters, and I had that belief about Kane. But
wait, that's not true. I'm gonna let the 30 people who regularly watch this show in on a little secret. Me and Fred, we don't give a fuck who wins.
Yeah, they do.
We don't give a fuck who loses. We want to see a good goddamn fight. And that's it. We got no favorites. We love the sport. So we don't get all this Conor McGregor and fucking Cowboy Cerrone. Hey, if it's a good fight and our guy loses, whatever. As long as we were entertained. But I'll tell you what, fuck Kane. Luke Rockhold in DC. Over at AKA. Stroking that cat's ego. Ooh, Kane, Cardio Kane. He's the best in the world. Fucking Luke Rockhold's got his balls in one hand and fucking DC got his shaft in the other. No, don't do that to a fighter, man. You've been gone 2 years. You blew out both your shoulders. You know what I mean? You can't rest on your laurels. One of Fred's favorite sayings is, "What have you done for me lately?" Kane, you ain't done shit for us now in over 600 days, man.
Yeah.
He came back and he looked like the exact same dude. So maybe Dana White does have something about this whole AKA training thing, because you think with 2 years off, he'd show us a new facet. He'd be able to, I don't know, defend a guillotine choke.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Is it just me, or does 600 days sound horrible? Like, you can say 2 years, and it doesn't strike me so bad. When you say 600 days, it sounds like a lengthy prison sentence. Like, it sounds like he's just been gone forever, Jack. Like 600 days. Jesus Christ. It's a long time, man.
You gotta multiply it by the fact that he hasn't fought anybody but fucking Bigfoot and JDS in 5 years.
It's crazy.
You're looking at all of his impressive wins, except for him beating JDS almost to death, came prior to 2011. That's where we saw the emergence of Kane, where we saw him, starch out everybody, and everybody's face looked all, broken and bashed, except for gave JDS such a bad beating that his baseball cap didn't fit his head. That's a badass whipping, man, when you can't put on your hat.
All right. So the question becomes this. First of all, Fabricio Verdum, as soon as he won, everyone came out of the woodwork. Overeem wants to fight him. Says he knows his weaknesses. JDS is to me is the obvious choice. That's who I want to see him fight, because he needs to get the win back. Everyone's like, oh, Frank Mir. Frank Mir should be nowhere near a title fight. Arlovsky is a good contender. Miocic, for some reason, people want to see Miocic fight him. Whatever. Let's start with Fred. Who do you want to see go for the title next?
Man, I might have said somebody differently before fucking 5 minutes ago, but us talking about this now, JDS, man. It has to be JDS. That was the last guy to beat Verdum legitimately, other than the Alistair Overeem bullshit. JDS is actually coming off of a fucking win. You know what I'm saying? And listen, Stipe and Arlovsky need to fight, in my opinion. JDS needs that fight. Quite frankly, I think Verdum needs the JDS fight more than JDS needs it. We, as hardcore fans, need Verdum to get that win back, or get that loss back, rather. Especially for fucking going. I mean, he's the champ, don't get me wrong. But there's still, like Aaron said, man, there's still that image of fucking JDS knocking him out in those ears. It was such a brutal knockout, man. He's got to get back. So that's got to be the fight they go with. That being said, in that scenario, I don't know what you do with Overeem. So I don't know. Fucking give over. You know, I do. Wait a minute. Has what the fuck? Ben Roethlisberger knocked Overeem out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, can't do that. Fuck. Yeah, you know what? Fuck you, Overeem. You got knocked out by that hideous hairy monster that just fucked you in the ass. I don't care who you want to. Fuck that.
You know, Fred is exactly right. We have to let Verdum get that win back. That's the only way to solidify him as the legitimate champion. Now, that being said, he's also right on Overeem, because the fights that make sense right now is either JDS versus Overeem and Stipe versus Arlovsky, or fuck Overeem and give JDS the title shot. And I think that all depends on Fabricio. If Fabricio's healthy and says, yeah, I'll defend right away, then...
Whoa, something just hit me. Okay, so if we do that, let's say, hypothetically, fantasy matchup here for a minute. We'll do JDS for that. We could do Arlovsky and Stipe. I think that's another fight that we're all down for, right?
Yep.
So it leaves Alistair Overeem as the odd man out. Let's give him Kane. Kane's got to fight somebody.
That was gonna be my next question: is what do you do with Kane? I mean, like obviously,
Overeem.
you know, more than likely, you got to give him a little bit of time off, to gather his shit together again. But yeah, I agree with that. Overeem against Kane. I mean, I watch that shit.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing that does is that probably builds. Well, it's double-edged. It either builds Kane's confidence back up, or if fucking Overroyd beats Kane, well then Kane, Kane's fucking done. The Kane train fucking derailed. Pretty much, in my opinion, now, if Alistair Overeem beats you, I got no more love for you. You can fight all you want and I'll watch, but I won't ever love you again, because everybody should be straight starch and Overroyd.
But at least Overeem's a marketable guy too, though, so you can take that risk with the Kane fight. Because I tell you what, I was arguing with some cute little prick on Twitter the other day about fucking Overeem, but let me tell you something. He's still got nut huggers out there.
Oh yeah.
Drugs. Are you watching this? No, fucking Overeem is not an elite striker at the top level in MMA, because his fucking striking defense is porous and sucks. So go fuck yourself, Twitter handle jerk off.
He's porous. It's fucking porous. That might be the best word you've used on this show before.
I don't know if that shit applies.
I'll tell you what, a porous defense, that's great. And then we had Sean Jordan on the show, and he said that he was kinetically talented. Wow!
Zing.
Oh, these motherfuckers pulling out dictionaries and shit now. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. No shit. You should have heard him. He goes, yes, and some of us are talented kinetically, and I actually heard crickets over on Kirby's side of the show.
Don't be an asshole. I knew what that meant.
Did you hear click, 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 type, type? You went to dictionary.com. What the fuck does this mean right now? All right. So yeah, that was your UFC 188 card. Overall, it was supposed to be, I mean, it was just an ad card overall. But look, all props to Fabricio Verdum. He starts Kane, and now Kane has to go back and build himself back up, and now we got a new champ. So.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to talk about the weird P test, and are we even going to bother with UFC Berlin, because that has got to be the worst fucking card in the history of recent history. It's terrible.
Well, that's why it's a title fight on Fight Pass, man, because it's terrible. So I just want to talk about the title fight. What do you guys think?
Let's be honest here. All due respect, it's a title fight, but it is the weakest, most Helen Keller's sister of title fights you could possibly have. I love Jajaric, but she just won the belt, and that belt couldn't matter less. I mean, it's literally like a Bellator heavyweight belt. Let's be real.
It's funny because didn't the fucking Bellator heavyweight belt change hands, and fucking nobody knew?
Yeah, exactly.
It changed hands, and literally nobody gave a shit. They're just like, who gives a fuck? And that's how I feel about the entire female strawweight division. I think that title will probably bounce here and there and everywhere until we find at least one of these girls who's actually a solid, legit talent. Because even Jadric, she didn't look all that great against Gadela, but she looked great against Esparza. And then now you have, quote-unquote, the number one strawweight in the world, Aguilar, going up against Gadela. And I'm going to put money on Gadela. in that fight. To tell you the truth, I got to tell you, I love Jessica Aguilar. She's on the show. She's a great girl, but she fights very, very infrequently, and she lost to Angela Magana.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Damn.
I can't forgive that loss. Just like if a heavyweight loses to Overeem, if any female ever in the history of the universe has lost to Magana, that's it. That's a record that can never be unblemished.
I agree with that, but do you think? Okay, Aaron, do you think Jessica Penny can beat Johanna?
Yeah,
So?
I think she can. I think she can. I don't think she will. I think she has the skills, but I do think Jedrzejczyk keeps the title this time.
All right, what about you, Fred?
Completely agree. As much as it fucking pains me to say it, I completely agree with Aaron. I think she can, but I don't think that she will. Because I'm not completely sold on Jedrzejczyk yet either. Like I said, she had a good performance against Esparza. Styles make fights, man. Not everybody's grappling or wrestling is the same either. Look at Cejudo. I would assume in a wrestling match he could take fucking Chico down all day long. But hey, when they fought that night, he couldn't get a fucking takedown one. So just because Esparza couldn't take her down.
Wait a second, we forgot. We forgot. It wasn't Cejudo's fault. He had a bad taco, guys. He had a bad taco.
Okay, for the record, if you did have a bad taco, keep that shit to yourself because it comes across as fucking bullshit, for the record. I mean, no matter how you cut the cake, when you say that shit, I'm like, bullshit. As a matter of fact, when you say that, it makes me 10 times more inclined to believe that you was banging Mexican hooers the night before, and it was something fishy going on, as opposed to fucking tacos, which has got to be the most unlikely scenario possible.
Exactly. Because I'll tell you what, I've been down to Mexico and fucking Honduras and Grenada. There is no such thing as a bad taco. They're all delicious.
All right. So basically, that's going to be our UFC Berlin preview, because overall, I completely agree. That card sucks up and down.
Well, other than the championship fight, come on, you pricks. Pick one fight for us to fucking break down on that card. Is there one fight that you give a flying fuck about other than the championship? What's co-main?
Co-main is Dennis Seaver against Tatsuya Kawajiri.
Oh, shit. It's Aaron's homeboy. Okay, fuck all those pricks. Amir Hanakani. That dude's fighting, right?
Makwan Amirkhani taking on Masio Follin from Mexico.
There you go. We give a fuck about that, right? Eddie, you give a fuck that your Mexican protege's got a shot there, and Amirkhani seems to be a star.
Amirkhani, I like Amirkhani, but he put on a fucking show when he fought in Sweden. That was a cool, quick fucking finish. But Aaron, go ahead. What do you got?
He put on a 2-second show.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. And he started off the shittiest of shitty birds. So, I mean, come on.
Oh, I want to see what he's got, but I think, with all that story that he had where he bought his mom a new bed and he finally moved out of his parents' basement and shit, I thought that was a pretty cool thing that he did. It's a nice story.
It looks like he's fighting another old shitbird, though, in Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham's not great. Fulham's not great. I got to admit that. He's not great.
Oh, you know what? I do want to see Tuzumov. I like any of the Mov brothers. Any of those guys. Bruce Mov, Tuzumov, I don't give a shit. I like all of those fucking Eastern Bloc fighters. I like all of them. They all got the same beard. They all got the same haircut. I swear to God, it's like the Killer Bees back in the day in the WWF. You don't know which one of them motherfuckers you're fighting.
Aaron's like, I don't give a fuck what it is. Give me a fucking mob, all right? Give me a mob. I will watch that shit. That's kind of what he's
anybody, I swear, anybody who ends with OEV, Tuzumov, Nurmagomedov, I don't give a shit. All of them that end with OEV, I like all of them.
All right, and he's talking about Maribek Taisimov taking on Alan Patrick, who's 12-0, he's undefeated, but Mark, what the fuck? Taisumov is 23-5. He's fucking experienced as shit. He's a tough dude. So
yeah, that'll be a good fight too. That'll be a good fight. There's some decent fights on this card. Just no name power at all.
Yeah, no, there isn't. And I'm actually looking at the thing. Kawajiri looks like he is 950 years old on that picture. I don't think he's actually going to be able to climb up into the cage against Seaver. Jesus Christ, where did they get this fucking money?
All right, just to let everyone know.
He's coming off a win.
Is he?
Isn't he?
Oh, I thought he lost.
Kawajiri?
I don't know. Good question. I guess somebody.
All right, whatever. You prick shit.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Just to let everybody know, the bypass prelims this Saturday begin at 12. It's basically noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time for the prelims. So it's an early card. You can watch fights early in the morning and then go about your day with something better to do because it's not going to be great. But we always say it's about cards like this.
No, Kirby. He has a win over fucking Sean Soriano, which apparently everybody in the world is beating John Soriano because so is Charles Rosa. No, he's coming off of a loss against Clay Guida.
Oh,
geez.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Clay Guida. That's the curse of death right there.
Yeah, that guy beats you. It's kind of over for you. He's not like that bad. It's not like Magana beating you, but still, it's fucking close.
It's pretty fucking close.
All right. Okay. If that's gonna be for the Berlin card. Let's talk about old Jose Aldo. Recently, here's what happened. They sent the Nevada State Athletic Commission sent somebody over to Brazil to collect a pee sample to test it, right? The random drug test and all that shit. They sent a guy over there. Dude did not have a work visa. So I'll read it straight up. Actually, what I wrote, the notes that I wrote on it. Drug-free sport director Ben Mosier visited Nova União to conduct a random drug test, but the urine sample that he obtained from Aldo had to be discarded because the Brazilian MMA Athletic Commission, which I didn't fucking know they had one, apparently they do, and the Brazilian Federal Police learned that Mosier didn't have a proper work visa to work in Brazil. So Aldo was tested again on Friday, this time by a Brazilian affiliate of WADA, and Mosier was actually fined and has until this Friday to get his ass out the fuck out Brazil and quick. Otherwise, that federal police is going to put his ass somewhere. And then UFC has since come out in support of Aldo, basically going against all the conspiracy theories who say he's using performance-enhancing drugs. Also, McGregor went on Twitter and called Aldo and his coach little weasels because he said that performance-enhancing drugs are probably part of Brazilian culture, whatever the fuck Hug Nuggets was saying. But overall, Fred, do you think that this is all conspiracy to let Aldo go in and fight on roids or something?
No, quite frankly, as much as I like Conor, I don't think this means fuck all. I mean, so what? Let me get this straight. Some cat in Brazil didn't have the credentials to be doing the job he was doing.
Yeah, work visa. Basically,
yeah, that's probably fucking 90% of the Brazilian workforce. What those pricks up there probably don't got the license to do what the fuck they're doing. That surprises me none and means fuck all to me. It doesn't mean shit. Like honestly. What? Just because some dude wasn't qualified to do the test, that means that Jose was fucking deucing?
No.
That's pretty presumptuous.
No. He didn't have the work visa. Basically, he wasn't allowed to be in the country and allowed by the country of Brazil to do any kind of work whatsoever. If you have a tourist visa, you can be a tourist. If you have a work visa, you can work. You have a student visa, so on and so forth. But people jumped on this conspiracy because they think Brazil is trying to do something to stop Jose Aldo from testing positive for whatever he might be using.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Those are conspiracy theorists. Because believe me when I tell you, Brazil don't give a fuck about Jose Aldo. They got the Olympics. You think they give a flying fuck if he gets tested positive for PEDs? They don't. Brazil don't give a shit in the grand scheme of things, and they sure as shit wouldn't risk bringing in some fucking vigilante fugitive to fucking just botch his fucking test. Believe me, no, it's fine. He's not. It's all good. What the fuck?
I'm sure that this is an example of we weren't there. This guy probably was asked to present his credentials. He didn't have them, so they're like, is this just some random fucko that wants some of Jose's piss? No, you can't have his piss. You don't have the proper credentials. That'd be like me going up to fucking Michael Bisping and being like, yo, Mike, fill her up, big dog.
All right, yeah, I'm with you guys. This is a non-story. This is overall it's just a stupid thing to fucking, write conspiracy theories about. But because it's, Conor McHugnuts, it becomes a story.
Whoa, what the fuck? You see, you know what? I think you guys hating on him is worse than the people that are for him. How is this his fucking fault? He did fucking nothing.
No. Okay, time out. No, before you go on that shit, I completely agreed with you when you said that Conor was the best thing that happened to Jose because nobody gave a fuck about Aldo before this. All right, but because Conor is involved, all right, all right, this becomes a story. All right, this is kind of what it is. He's fighting Conor, and I know, Aaron. I know you give a shit about Jose, and I've been, I like watching Jose fight all the time, but in the grand scheme of things, overall in the big picture, Jose wasn't a huge name anyway.
First and foremost, I care deeply for each and every fighter, except for Angelo Magana. Who is Conor's friend there? Who is the guy from Iceland?
Gunnar Nelson.
Hey, why don't you make a little bit more background noise there, fucker? Whatever fucking respect I had for Gunnar Nelson and Conor, as soon as they came out with that picture of them in their underwear in the McMansion, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with that entire gym. I'm done with Patty Houlihan. I'm done with fucking his girlfriend there, Ashley Daisley. I'm done with fucking Conrad McNuggets and his fucking underwear pictures. Those fucking goofballs, man. They are snorting rails of fucking Comet Cleanser off a bathtub or something. You just don't end up in that situation. How did that go? Yo, Gunnar, you want to get into your fucking underwear and take a picture with me? How the fuck did that even happen? And it wasn't a selfie. They posed for that. Somebody else took that fucking picture. I want to know who that person was.
I love that Aaron is fucking utterly offended by this. Like, he flat took it personally. Go put your pants on, McHugnuggets. We don't want to see you in your panties.
All right, let's move on here. Really quick, just touch on this, whether you give a shit or not. Titan FC signed a broadcast deal with UFC Fight Pass, the same way that Invicta did, and the same way that Shoot Up Brazil did. So now you're gonna get to watch Titan FC on Fight Pass. I think it'll be interesting. I'd like to watch Titan FC for the most part.
Wait a second. Didn't Cody Bollinger last fight on Titan FC?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that organization.
All right. I mean, look.
Yeah, you was right. You was right. Nobody really gives a shit. I understand why the UFC's doing it. I mean, you got the money and you might as well gobble this shit up for all the fucking maniacs out there that want to watch everything they can get their hands on. But in the grand scheme of things, I think most people look at that and, I mean, listen, I could find fucking 1,000 people and go, hey, you asshole, you ever heard of Titan FC? What's Titan FC mean to you? Nothing. Fuck, nobody knows or gives a fuck about Titan FC in the grand scheme of things. So developing talent maybe.
I will tell you this.
But
right, exactly. Now they own them. They become a feeder league. Now that makes sense because, like we've talked about before, RFA, feeder league, CES, feeder league, Legacy, feeder league. So great, man. Let's just be fucking realistic about what you are. There ain't no world champions over there. Don't be stupid. You ain't the fucking Titan FC world champion and nothing. You know what I mean? I hate that. Even Bellator, the Bellator world champion. No, you're just a Bellator champion.
Yeah.
In the UFC championship, you're the world title holder. Other than that, you're just a big regional. So that's what it is. Now they can pick and choose. And hey, that actually, maybe now we will see better talent in Titan because people will be fighting to get to Titan to get to the UFC.
True. Very, very good point. The same way women want to fight for Invicta to get to the UFC. Except it's not working super well. Except for maybe Alexa Grasso and Aldana.
Make any sense? Where the fuck else are they going to fight?
That's a good point. All right. And real quick, I'm just going to mention it quick. We don't have to talk about it. Burt Watson joins Cage Fury Fighting Championships. Okay. I don't know what that is. I never heard of that. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Never.
Once again.
Cage Fury Fighting Championships?
I haven't, no.
How could you know? It's right next door to Jock Sniffer's Fighting Championships.
Okay, I'll have to look that up then. All right. But let's end the show talking about unfinished business. All right. Scott Coker said that he thinks that Kimbo Slice versus Ken Shamrock is going to set ratings records. I was hoping Coker was going to help Bellator. Like, it's going to hit ratings a little bit just for the fact that they're names and people want to watch and see a freak show. But it's going to what?
It is going to crush it. If it doesn't equal Ortiz Bonner, it'll be damn close. It will crush it. Think about it. All of the fucking jackwagons who watched Shamrock back in the day when he was a wrestler. And you got all of these fuckwads who on YouTube still think Kimbo Slice is the guy who will explode your eyeball with one punch. It's going to be fucking huge because it's casuals. Eddie, you always go to the bar and you talk about, oh, the bar is full of all these fucking assholes. Yeah. Every goddamn bar that is showing this fight, it is going to be jam-packed with retards who don't know a damn thing about MMA, but they're going to want to see these two shit smash each other up.
I'm staying home for that one. What about you, Fred?
It's absolutely true, man. Like, he just hit the nail on the head. We are outnumbered as being, like, intelligent MMA or martial arts fans. There is a lot more idiots out there that, like, this is the point that I was making earlier, man. Kimbo Slice is arguably one of the most popular guys in the heavyweight division. He couldn't be a worse fighter, but that does not really matter in the grand scheme of things, man. He is fucking mega popular because there's a lot of idiots out there that, like Aaron said, still think that he's a really bad dude. Quite frankly, fucking Bellator's lobbing him a softball. If he comes out and starches Ken Shamrock, it won't matter that Ken Shamrock is fucking 96 years old. It won't matter that Ken... When did Ken Shamrock fight last, man? Can any of you fucking hardcore fans even tell me the date of when he fought last? I mean, it's been a month of Sunday.
I think it was 1968.
Exactly. And guess what the fucked up thing is? None of that will matter. You're right. People will be at the bar, and after Kimbo lands a big fucking right hand and Ken Shamrock's funny ass goes down, or God forbid, vice versa, Shamrock was a hole on silly ass Kimbo, which would be the accomplishment of fucking nothing, everybody will go crazy, and it'll be a fucking big fucking deal, dude. It's silly, but that's the point of a star power. That's what I was making the point about Fabricio. The UFC needs a Kimbo that can actually fight. They need one of those guys, man, at heavyweight that can fucking captivate the masses. Fabricio, if you could take Fabricio's skills and put them in Slice, you'd be on to something, what the fuck, because they need each other, what the fuck.
That is true, but I think Fred nailed it on the head right there. I don't think old-ass Ken Shamrock wants no part of the punching game, because that's the last thing to go on a fighter, right? The power. And I've seen his boxing matches. Kimbo can still starch guys. He's going to double leg him because we all know Kimbo cannot get up off his back, and he probably will. Grab him in a little toe hold or an inside heel hook. And Kimbo will be he'll be tapping faster than Mitrione.
It's true. It's true. Don't see that?
What?
What the fuck you just said?
What, you want to? Hey, fucking Google with your connections. You want to fucking see it, right? You want to see Kimbo tapping fast to an old man ripping his ankle off, right? Like. There's a morbid curiosity where we all do want to see. I'll be tuned in. I'll be on fucking vacation, and I'll still be watching back. Step on Sky.
Vacation from what? You don't work?
Oh! Fucking slander. Constantly busy. Fucking kids and the like.
All right, fellas. That's going to do it for our show. I'd like to thank both of you guys for joining us. Real quick, this episode you guys just came out with the Stand and Bang Radio. First of all, the immortal Matt Brown is Matt Brown. You always want to hear what, Matt Brown's a big get for an interview. That was pretty cool. Anthony Burchak, however, like I've talked to this dude before, he sounded way more interesting with you guys. He actually, sounded great with you guys. I interviewed him, it was all right. But go ahead and tell whoever wants to. Go ahead and tell him about the episode.
We got Matt Brown, and very interesting. I try to do kind of like more analysis, last fight, next fight, what's happening with you training-wise, that kind of stuff, and then Fred does more personal aspects of the interview. And thank God for that, because Matt didn't want to talk even a little bit about losing to Hendricks and what he's going to do with Tim Means. But as soon as Fred's like, so, you a metalhead? Fuck yeah, I am. Hate breed, Jamie Josta, woohoo, Dimebag Daryl, and the fucking show goes off to the races. And then, yeah, man, you're right. Anthony Burchak, funny as hell. And I'll tell you what, if anybody's watching this, go listen to his analogy about fighting in the ring or the cage for the first time. Best fighter analogy ever.
Oh, it was fucking awesome. But on the Matt Brown thing, you need to tune in to listen to him and Dimebag Daryl. Just listen to that part of it too, because it's a fucking just mind-blowing interview. And actually, Fred, you're the one that was talking about it. So,
yeah, man, it's actually kind of incredible, man, because I was supposed to go to that show. That's no bullshit, man. I'll never forget that show as long as I live because we came very close to going to that. We went the week before to that venue, and then we heard that Dimebag got shot and all the shit. And then I remember when I first heard that Matt Brown had mentioned being at that show, and we was going to get him on the show. I'm like, fuck, man, I got to ask him that because what the fuck, man? How many people were in the building that night, right? Maybe 200-300. I've been to Alrosa Village, Jack, and let me tell you something. It ain't no big-ass venue. It's a little-ass small bar that a bunch of fucking hillbillies usually frequent. So it's not, 200-300 people might have been in the building that night. He was one of those people. So crazy, crazy fucking story. And he gave us everything, man. It was really cool. He didn't, hold anything back. He gave us lots of cool details and shit. He even, at one point said, he came in and thought maybe he might have been drunk or tripping. Some shit was happening and he didn't really know if it was fucking real or not. He told us some good shit, man. It was an awesome fucking story for sure.
Yeah, so you can find these guys over at iTunes. Just look up Stand and Bang MMA podcast, and that's what it is. Also, standandbangmma.com. You follow Fred at Kirby_MMA and at Gem City Fighting. Aaron's over at Stand and Bang Radio. Fellas, thanks for joining us. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week.